You know you're creative and you're thinking about starting a little one-person business. You feel that creative entrepreneurship bug tingling inside your body. I know what that's like, and I know that it also might be scary. That's exactly why I want to show you my exact process of how to start your creative one-person business from scratch. And you don't need anything that these people say that you need. You don't need an audience, you don't need a logo, you don't need a website, you don't need any of that stuff. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did it and how I've seen it work for so many other people. It's the simple, tried and true approach to getting your first dollar as a creative entrepreneur. So let's dive right in. So my goal is to help you learn and embody this one simple practice, this one framework to make your first dollar as a creative entrepreneur. Because going from 0 to 1 is the hardest step, but people are focused on going from 0 to 10, 10,000, whatever it is. I'm going to help you go from 0 to 1 without needing a website, a logo, an big audience, or any of that shit that people say, because it's so much more simple than everyone leads you to believe. So what you're gonna learn is how to make your first dollar, and if you've already made your first dollar, how to make your second, third, and hopefully 10x or 100x that, because you're hopefully gonna be charging more than $1. So I don't know why there's a photograph of me here, but this is a photograph, and this was my Stripe account from today. I get it. There's a part of me that doesn't want to show this, but I understand, for a sense of credibility, that this actually works. I'm going to show it, but I just want you to know that it's about what's happening on the inside before you see that result on the outside. So what you don't need is an audience, website, LLC, or the perfect email nurture sequence lead magnet follow-up automation platinum edition Supremo. Despite what people are trying to sell you, you don't need any of that. But what you do need, let's not get ahead of ourselves. What you do need is radical self-acceptance, 100%. You need to fully accept yourself as you are, even if you're not where you want to be. That's okay. Accept that, feel into that. Devotion to uncertainty, because the whole game of entrepreneurship is uncertainty, and we do our best to create a really expansive relationship to that and to create systems that help us cultivate consistent results. But the true nature of it is uncertainty, and you have to learn to be okay with that. But this is a practice that you can learn as you get started. You need the readiness to fail, absolutely, because failing is learning, and an ability to read and write, because you're going to be reading and you're going to be writing. So let's dive right in. 5 steps, simple framework. Step number 1, God's breadcrumbs. So this is how you get started. What's that little intuitive nudge that you're getting right now about your creative expression? I've written down some funny ones. You feel like you want to bake a wicked almond croissant for a coffee shop owner and see if they'd be willing to buy your croissants wholesale. Or maybe you got this feeling one day, you woke up and I want to do hand-painted vintage signs because I love the look of old things and I haven't used my hands. Or maybe you found something that reminded you of your best friend's mother and I'm going to make her a collage and just do that out of the goodwill. And the thing is, when you have these intuitive nudges, you don't know what's on the other side. You make that collage for your best friend's mom, and her best friend could be someone who's plugged in with a gallery or an art collector or somebody who just opened up a new space and wants some art on the walls. You have no freaking clue. So whatever it may be, just lean into that. For me, it was to make my favorite professor from architecture school a chair out of bronze. And he liked it so much he actually bought a second one for me. So again, you just never know what happens when you trust that first nudge, because it gets you going. Lean into it fully. And also, if you aren't a little scared, you're probably not deep enough into I like to call it the nonsensical, makes perfect sense land of pure possibility. Because it doesn't, by most senses of logic, make sense why you're feeling called to do that, but that's why it makes perfect sense, because it's just written somewhere deeper. So lean into that. Step 2, setting yourself up to fail. Now let me reframe this and prime this so you understand. With the proper reframe, this truly is one of the most powerful things you can do. To put yourself in a position to learn, which means potentially fail. And you are going to fail. Whether it's the first time you're communicating with a client, the first post you're writing, the first time you're going to land a job, whatever it is, there's going to be little failures along the way. That doesn't mean the whole thing is a failure, or most importantly, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that you're putting yourself in a position that you haven't been in, where you're in unknown territory, where you're going to get everything. High reward, pure possibility, potential to fail, but that's also a learning opportunity where then you rise the floor of your sort of baseline knowledge and embodiment and the skill, creativity that you're offering the world. So just please, you don't need to have the whole picture painted in your head. All you need to do is choose the first color, which is your intuition, and just go for it. What's most alive for you now? And if you don't like that first step, the proverbial first color, great. You get to choose a next step, choose another color, and learn from it. So learning to be okay with not knowing how it's all going to play out is really a superpower as a one-person business, creative entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, whatever the term is. I don't know. This is who I am. I'm a creative entrepreneur. I'm a one-man show. Here's exactly how you're going to do it. So listen up, because it's literally so simple. Now, I'm going to be reading, so I'm going to put my eyes down, but just you get the gist. You can look at this yourself. So step number 1, in 200 words or less, just write a short introduction about yourself. What you're grateful for, your creativity, and how you'd like to share it with a new community that, say, you just moved to. And it's okay to be silly, messy, and imperfect. That's sort of the gist of it, is being fully you. So then find a good photograph of yourself, or your work, or both. Even better if you have a photograph of yourself with your work. And then you're going to make a Nextdoor account. I cannot swear the power of Nextdoor enough. Click post, copy and paste your little introduction along with your photograph, and at the end of the post just say, hey, if you're interested in XYZ service that you're offering, just drop a comment below and I'll reach out to you. Or here's my phone number. Feel free to give me a call. Here's an example. I have a website, but literally you can just use a phone number. I've seen so many people do it with literally just comment or call me. Short, this is way under 200 words. I had already introduced myself. I don't have a screenshot of that one, I'm sorry, but this was just a short, hey, this is what I do, this is what I like about it. I think it's really fun, it's creative. Let me know if you're interested. And now being fun and playful about, like, it's not a handrail, it's a shadow. I mean, a handrail, whatever. People like to just have a little bit of sense of humor inside of that. And I'll show you the analytics. 757 people saw this. 2 people went to my website and clicked through a form that was like 8 questions. So I don't know how many people got there. Let's say 10. That'd be great, 20%. And this is literally all the money that poured in from me then communicating with these people and sealing the deal and doing the project. So 1,500, 520, 3,200, 3,500, 500, 600. I probably should have added that up, but I think it's somewhere in the realm of like 10K or something like that. In total, ended up being 12, but I didn't have screenshots of it all. This is how you feel. Austin Powers, you're just dancing, you're like, oh my God, it's that simple, because you don't need an audience. You don't need the perfect logo. I had a website because I've been doing this for a while, but you literally could have just had a picture of your thing and gotten on the call with somebody and just talked about, what are you looking for? What would be a great scenario of us working together? What's your ideal budget? What's your timeline? I'd love to come check it out and see if we're a right fit of working together. Whatever it is, it's so much simpler than you think. Also, another amazing underrated hack is copy and paste everything onto Craigslist. The first Craigslist project I ever got, from literally writing up a post, taking a photograph of a sketch that I made, say, I want to design a cabin like this. Here's why I believe that I can do it, why I'm qualified, and this is the right person. You have this, you have space for it. You're willing to experiment with something architecturally progressive. And I got actually a lot of interest without even a precedent, and it led to my first $10,000 as a one-person business. And it came in the set check, which was so cool. And this is a picture of how it finished. I did a prefabricated cabin, and a little small unpermitted structure that I made entirely in my shop and then just plopped on a foundation. So the wisdom of this is without surrendering to the unknown of what's going to happen, there's literally no success. And then there's also no failure. So while you think that it might be good to not fail, you're really setting yourself up for stagnancy and unfulfillment, because you have to open yourself, both your mind, heart, and body, to the unknown in order to become fully alive. So setting yourself up to fail is what actually creates the space to succeed, and in the most beautiful, messy way. And it's also what helps you become more creative, because when you are more alive, when you make more of a mess, you tend to create more more impactful, meaningful work. So make a mess, act with integrity. Don't act like you have all the answers, because you don't, and you can be radically honest with that. And that's step 3, communication. So hopefully you do that process with Nextdoor and Craigslist and just conversations in town, in your coffee shop. That's where, I live in a really small town. I go to the coffee shop and I have conversations like, I'd love to do a project like that. Let's do it. Let's build a sauna. Just be present, have conversations like that. And once you start to get someone who's interested, radical honesty is always the answer. So this is probably a new world to you, and if you've been doing this for a while, there's still space to get better, of course. So all of that's okay. Start small, messy, and be okay with being imperfect. So I like to just, if I don't have an answer to a question, I just like to say, hey, I don't actually know, but I'll figure it out and I'll get back to you. Is that okay? People love when you're just ultra transparent because people are not used to that. So here's a framework that I want to give you about how to communicate with the client for the first time. That's just going to create the conditions for a really nice entry into doing business with someone, especially if you're new. So, howdy, Johannes Vanderbooten. Thank you so much for being interested in my XYZ service. I'm so excited to be offering this to the community, and I cannot wait to get started. I just want to be really transparent with you that offering this as a service is still new to me, so I'm going to really prioritize having really clear communication over all of the details so that I can do the best possible work for you and also work out any kinks in the process on my end. Feel free to give me any feedback along the way. And let me know everything that you're looking for, especially the problems that you're facing, what you're most excited about, and if you have an idea of budget you are willing to work with. So I'm excited to create something special together. Thanks, and then you can put your phone number. Feel free to call me, Kev. That's great because it's not the type of authority that's gonna like command everyone wants to work with you, but it's the honesty where you're gonna attract the right personality of the person who's willing to support and help someone just getting started, because that's a very specific archetype. You don't wanna work with someone who's tight, who's like really uptight, that thinks you're an absolute just God at what you do and have everything all worked out, because that's just going to end up hurting both of you. You want someone who gets, oh, this person's new, but you know what? I see something in them. I'm going to support them. I can't tell you enough how important it is to have aligned people to the work that you want to do and also where you're at in your journey. So think friends, family, and close community members, business owners that you might know. I don't know why I said members. Community members, business owners. And then step 4, just do your thing, baby. Yeah. Document each step of your process and really get in the habit of giving regular updates to your clients. And I'm giving it all to you here. This is all the emails that I use. Here's a short email that works fine for that. Howdy, just a quick update that I have the material in shop for your project and I plan to start fabricating in the next 2 days. I should be done in about a week and I'll drop this off at the powder coater when I'm done. I'll send you an email when I'm finished, and that way you know that we're on the next stage of the process. So cheers. And I like to attach little pictures. Clients love that shit. And especially, when someone's giving you money, just really stay present in their orbit, because you wouldn't believe how many people have been burned, or how many people like I know from the work that I do as like a service, like a physical service. People are burned, and communication is like, the bar is set so low because people are just not good communicators. I'm a firm believer, if you are just honest and you can look someone in the eye and you can just communicate clearly, you're already leaps and bounds ahead of all the competition. So it doesn't matter if you're just getting started. If you can learn how to communicate clearly, you're going to be way ahead of the game. And then also, whenever they send you some form of money digitally, just be sure to say something quick in a text or email like, hey, just got your payment of $3,200. Thank you so much. Something like that. And then last but not least, how to get the referral, because this is what keeps the flywheel going. And hopefully you'll be continually posting on Nextdoor and Craigslist. And from this project that you do, now you have a whole new story to talk about and write. So it's a snowball. Use one project to get the next, use that project's process to get the next, maybe 2 more, and it kind of expands. And then it'll flatten out. It's not always growing, but this is a pretty easy method to get your foot in the door. So the referrals where everyone misses out, and here's how I get it. When I deliver a product or I finish an install, as I'm tying out with the client, whether I'm getting the check or just like smiling, shaking the hand, oh, job well done, just say, hey, it's been so great working with you. I really loved how this turned out, and I learned a lot too. You wouldn't happen to know anyone who might need this type of service? I would love to work with more great folks just like you. And they might say a name or something then and there, and if they're really keen on it, you can just say, oh, hey, you can pass along my contact, or maybe you can ask them if I can give them a call. Let me know. But whether that happens, just a week later, follow up with them via email and first say, hey, thanks again for being such an amazing client. I loved working with you. It was just such a treat to have someone that I really, really felt like I could do my best work with. You didn't happen to think of anyone who might need my service yet, did you? If you did, feel free to pass my contact along. In any case, wishing you well. Just, again, staying in the orbit, and it's really low barrier to entry for the client. You didn't happen to think of anyone. You know what? Actually, yeah, I did think of my buddy Maria. She's old, and she might need a new, staircase handrail for something, whatever the heck it might be. You just never know. And that's hopefully will turn one project into the next symbiotically and harmoniously, just as a natural evolution. But I can't stress enough, this is a framework that's bare bones. You don't need any of the shit that people say. You don't even need to go make it. You don't need an Instagram or making all those other online things. That's great, build that over time. But just start simple and local with what's real in your community, and use a platform like Nextdoor that's not really algorithm based. It just shows it to everyone. So there's no you're not praying and hoping for the gods to help you and save you about, woe is me, no one's seeing my post. A lot of that, the strategy and this framework is clear cut, but what it takes is that sense of self to really stay confident and to stay open to experimenting and to know that, hey, I'm in a new place, I might fail, and I need to be okay with that. Because if you're not, then maybe this isn't for you. But I'm sure that if you've made it this far, you've listened intently enough, you're ready to get started, and you can just throw everything else you've ever learned out the window and just experiment with this for literally 15 minutes. And I guarantee you in the next 24 hours, you'll have some idea of a potential client or a way to refine your process moving forward. You'll have learned, oh, it didn't work, people didn't resonate, no one, whatever it is. I swear by this, I've seen literally the handyman do this and get a call within 15 minutes of posting. It's wild. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm just talking at this point. I really appreciate you for being here. If you really, really liked this video and it helped you, feel free to like it, subscribe, and drop me a comment of what was most helpful. And I'm looking forward to helping you all make your first dollar as a creative entrepreneur. So I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.